Hey everybody, and welcome back to my channel for this Wednesday morning, afternoon or evening across the world where you may be at. I hope your day finds you well. And today's requested video is by my best friend, and it's going to be about change of routine and how to deal with it. And I thought this was a perfect topic from my best friend, so thank you bestie for requesting it. Recently I've been going through a lot of sudden change. Especially during the fact that recently I was meant to be doing a lot of activities with my dad, going out places, and recently that routine got tipped on its head upside down because my dad decided to jet off out the country on holiday with his friends and didn't tell me until I found out from someone else that they'd told me. And so that turned my routine upside down and I got really emotional, really angry, and I don't like my routine being changed. So the fact that he decided not to even tell me that the routine had changed, and I had to find out from somebody else to tell me that the routine was going to be changing. So it's kind of, the last 2-3 weeks have been intensely difficult for me. I found it really overwhelming to deal with changes. I've been very emotional. I've found it really hard to process the changes. It's been really hard to have a last minute routine put into place because the routine I did have organised and then obviously been tipped on its head. So I've had to go from doing things with my dad that we'd booked in months and months in advance to all of a sudden now not doing them things that we'd booked in because he decided to jet off on holiday. So for me it was like, oh well, I kind of feel like you don't want to do stuff with me, I'm not good enough, and then you just disappeared out the country to leave me. And then I've had to go, oh, so instead of doing them things with my dad, I've had to then put short last minute plans into my plan to help me cope and help me to overcome the situation that I was dealt with, which was an unfortunate circumstance because I wasn't expecting it. So from going from something that is fully routine to then something that's not routine has been entirely stressful because I've had to learn to communicate in a different way. I've had to learn to deal with things in a different way. I've been more emotional. I've been more heightened. I've been more sensitive to things. You know, I've been more on high alert than I usually would because I've had to kind of deal with last minute changes and organising my different routine. So thank God that my uncle and his girlfriend and my sister have stepped up to the mark and basically took on help to support me and taking me out, helped me do things that I was going to do with my dad or things that I needed to do to keep busy because these last 2 weeks have been intensely lonely. I felt more lonely being by myself. I felt more heightened. My autism has been more, I guess, kicked in, if you want to call it that. I've been more sensitive to things. I've been snappy at people a little bit more because I don't like change. I don't like being told, oh well, this was going to happen and then now, oops, that's going to happen, and having to go backwards and forwards changing my routine because a certain person let me down and decides to tip my routine upside down, which for a lot of people on the autism spectrum, change is not a good thing. A lot of us don't like adhering to change, or even the thought of change just really overstimulates us or overwhelms us or makes us on high anxiety. And for me, this last 2 weeks have been nothing but heightened anxiety. I felt panicked, I felt low, I felt emotional, I felt nauseous, I felt really stressed out, you know. And thank God my sister, God bless her soul, and she is still alive, but you know, God bless her soul for putting up with me and helping me. We've done cooking together, you know, we've been shopping together, we're going to sign up to the local library together, and luckily my uncle and his girlfriend have stepped up to the mark these last 2 weeks and took me out for dinners and talked to me and helped to reason with me a little bit. And you know, if it wasn't for them, you know, I probably would be a lot more heightened than what I am. And it's taken me the last week to actually realise how lucky I actually am and the people in my network. And my best friend, she's a rock. She's been seeing me every Friday. You know, we meet up, we have lunch, you know, we do a bit of shopping. And without her, my support network would have failed because there's a lot of things that I was emotional about, I was heightened about, I was feeling stressed out about because I felt on my own. I felt like nobody really understood the stress of being out of a routine. For many autistic people, we do require routine, we do require structure every day to successfully function, and I think a lot of people forget that. They forget that we thrive on routine, we thrive on structure, we thrive on order, and by having that order and routine, then we can function successfully to quite a degree. But when that routine is taken away from us, under our feet, or it's a last minute like, oh well, you're just expected to deal. Well, it's actually, well, no, we can't just deal, because we go through a lot of auditory changes, we go through a lot of physical changes, we go through a lot of mental changes. And the thing is, when you change a autistic person's routine, it can be very, very stressful, very, very panic inducing. It can cause tears, it can cause meltdowns, withdrawals, social anxiety, panic attacks, shutdowns, burnouts. You know, we can get into a very, very, very bad place with our mental health, and it can take a toll on our physical health as well. And these last 2 weeks, it really hit me like a ton of bricks. It's made me feel really tired, lethargic, grumpy, stroppy. You know, I've just not felt myself. These last 2 weeks are what I've described as autism hell. Like, I've not enjoyed it. I've not coped well. I've felt really low and miserable. Even my own local Elvis tribute has had to take me out for a coffee because I was so distraught. And this shows how autism affects me. You know, when it comes to change, I do not like it. I do not cope. I withdraw. I shut down. I go into an emotional shutdown, because it's like, well, you've not even had the decency to tell me about things changing, and then I'm just expected to deal and get on with it. And that's not how my brain works, unfortunately. You know, that's just how things are. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye guys.